I've talked in a lot of these videos about how I paint, what my approach is with oil painting and with portraits, how I kind of block in discrete zones of color, almost trying to capture like these little blocks and little different areas of lightness and darkness and specific hues, almost an impressionist portrait style. I also I've talked about this in other videos, I've also used a lot of different reference image sources. Stock photo images like the royalty-free sites, photos I take, photos provided to me by subjects or people commissioning something. And I've also used AI image generators to create reference photos. And this is something that over the last few weeks especially, I've been using this a lot more. That's essentially what I do is I use these tools, create an image of something that I'm wanting to paint, essentially like what is the basic thing that I want, and then I just put my iPad next to my easel while I paint, and that's kind of what the process is when I use one of these tools. There are a ton of free AI tools now, like that's obviously all the rage. So I wanted to give a few that I like first. Some of the free AI tools that are out there right now, there's so many, so I couldn't even try to name them all. And frankly, the technological world and the AI tools specifically changed so rapidly that probably within a few months of sharing this video, some of the tools that I talk about here are either going to be gone or renamed. So, but some of my favorites right now that I've been using, Google has Gemini, Imagine, and ImageFX. Those are great. And Microsoft has Bing, their Copilot thing. You can also do the same thing. Like the short version of how it works is you type text, it spits out an image representation of that text. But the real question is, what text do I type? How do I make something that I can use as a reference? They can all pretty much create photograph style images, like realistic looking images of people. And they're all pretty good about that. I think early on, there was a lot of uncanny valley, like kind of creepy looking people that didn't look real or natural. I feel like they've really corrected a lot of that. That's changed quite a lot. Things do look pretty realistic. So I found you can also create references that help you determine the right color zones and blocks. I was talking about my approach, blocking in those discrete zones of color, that impressionism kind of look. You can create references that help you with that as well, help you determine like those specific colors and something that's a little easier and better to look. But you need the right keywords to nudge these AI tools in the direction that you want, even if some of the terms are a little redundant or exaggeration. So I'll just list off some of the ones that I always include in these prompts, these image prompts. So useful ones that I find: oil painting, visible brushstrokes, Impasto style, Chiaroscuro lighting, impressionistic rendering, painterly, thick paint application, emphasizing texture. So all of those things, I like to pop them in, and you have to write it in a descriptive way. So what I mean by some of the things, like I'm trying to get discrete zones of color, kind of something that's easier to paint from. That impasto, what I mean by that's just like thickly applied paint. And you'll see that in a lot of impressionist paintings, like Monet's Water Lilies painting. That's one where you can see that thickly layered paint. You can kind of get a sense of where's the light, where's the area of color. That Chiaroscuro, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but the lighting effect, that's like really intense shadow and intense light. A good example of that is Vermeer's Girl with the Pearl Earring. That's kind of a style. That direct light can help you determine facial structure or kind of a likeness for a portrait subject. So I find that very useful. So those key words will give you a style. There is more than that to the prompt, though. You also want to describe the overall colors to the piece. Is it cool, warm? Are there hues, specific hues, saturated, muted? You also want to describe the specifics of the subject. What's the body orientation? How's the head oriented? limb position, action, gender, hair, specific colors that you want in the subject. You also want to describe the background too. So you have to get into all of this. Details like not just saying nature, but describe the trees, describe the water, structures, like is there a pier or a dock in the lake? What does the sky look like? So all of these things, describing everything. So the final prompt, once you get those keywords that I mentioned, and then also describing everything else, you might end up with a 7 to 10 or maybe even longer sentence paragraph about what you want to see. It might just be anecdotal for me, but the more you leave unsaid or vague, I feel like the worse the result is. The AI then just kind of makes whatever it wants, and it's less good. Again, these are just reference photos, though. Like when I'm painting, often I'll deviate from the reference if I think it makes sense to. So, the same thing applies with this. Popping in those keywords, trying to get what you want. You can wing it and branch off. So I thought those might be helpful, getting some of those keywords out there that I've been using lately for this. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope to see you for the next one.